Hello and a happy Saturday. Once again, I'm on a walk with my dog Tychus. Say hello. Let's get started. Today I want to talk about leadership skills specifically. And what got me thinking about this is just all the people in my life who have been a good example to me as leaders. Now you may be thinking to yourself, this video is not for me, I'm not a leader. But I would submit that everybody is a leader in their own way. Whether they are in charge of an entire company, whether they're in charge of a team of people at work, whether they're a parent, whether they're a friend, somehow in some way, you have the opportunity to lead somebody else. And that's why I think it's important that no matter who you are and what you're doing in life, that you learn how to be a good leader and to have good leadership skills. And I don't think that there is one perfect book that tells it all on how to be a perfect leader. I think a lot of it comes from training and assessment and adaptability. But I want to share with you at least some of the things that I've learned in regards to being a good leader. So first off, what does it mean to lead somebody? Well, I think that the core of the name really is what makes a good leader. It's not a pusher, it's not a shover, it's not a demander. It's somebody who leads. So, like with my dog Tychus, when we go on walks, I don't let him lead. I don't let him be in charge. And the reason why is because he doesn't know where we're going. He doesn't know the agenda. And it's up to me to lead him to where we're going. It's my responsibility to make sure he doesn't walk into oncoming traffic, that he doesn't go run off after a skunk and get sprayed or anything like that. So I lead Tychus to where he needs to be on his walks. And it eventually gets to the point when he knows how to follow me without me needing to give him much direction. But I'm not pulling him, I'm not pushing him, and I'm not letting him lead. I am leading him. He stays to the side of me, and I am the one that's in control of the leash. And I think that's an important perspective. The ones we lead, we don't necessarily shove out in front and in uncomfortable situations and make them do everything. But at the same time, we don't put them behind us. We put them next to us, but as we fulfill our leadership responsibilities, we are holding on and in control of the situation and helping that person through the situation. Some of the leaders I've had have been managers at work. It's where I've gotten some really great leadership skills. One of them was a foreman on a construction job that I did, and I really liked the way that he led things. He taught me that the time to be a leader is not necessarily when you get the position of leader, but when you have the capability to lead somebody. And I learned that kind of the hard way. We were doing construction work, and on one part of the house we were putting up siding, and there were other parts that we were still doing the framing. And so the majority of the team was trying to finish up the framing project, and I was asked to start doing the siding. And I'd never done siding before, so I just kind of figured it out and learned how to do siding and felt like I got pretty good at it. And after a while, the team that was working on finishing up the framing, they got done, and they came to join me in doing the siding, including the foreman. And we started doing the work and started going really slow. All of us were just kind of waiting on the foreman to tell us what to do. And after a while, the foreman got visibly upset and was asking us why we were just dragging our feet. And I looked at him and I said, well, you're the foreman, you're in charge. You kind of need to tell us what to do. And he looked at me and he said, you're the expert. This is your responsibility. You should be the one teaching us how to do things. And I realized just because he has the title foreman does not necessarily make him the leader in all situations. I had been given the task to put up the siding first. I had learned how to do the siding. And so he was allowing me to lead that part of the job because I had the most understanding of how to do it. And I thought that was really neat. It helped me realize that I need to step up in situations when I can provide help to others. And also as a leader, I need to be willing to step back and allow others the opportunity to lead if they have skills and capability to do so. Another one that taught me a really good job with leadership was actually the owner of that construction company. We were still putting up siding, and for those of you who've never put up siding before, they're just plastic sheets that you clip in on the bottom, and on the top you staple in. And you're supposed to staple them in just enough so that the sheets of plastic can slide back and forth, not having it fully stapled in. And the reason for that is if it gets cold and then warm throughout the seasons, you want that plastic siding to be able to flex and move, because things expand and contract when it gets hot and cold. And so I've been stapling in the siding and allowing enough room for movement. And it was a little rough. You could move it, but it took a little bit of pulling, and I figured it's good enough that if it had to either break or move, it would move. So I figured there'd be no worry about it expanding and contracting and breaking. It just would be a little rough. And we got halfway done siding one side of a house. And the owner of the company comes and he looks at it and he asks if we've made it so that it would move, so it could expand and contract. And I said, yeah, see? And I pulled it and moved it and wiggled it around. It moved freely, but not super easy. I had to push it a little. And he tried it a few times and he sat there and he thought. And then finally he said, you know what? I want you to take it all down and do it again. And I was a bit flabbergasted. I said, well, why? That's going to cost you money because you're paying us hourly to do this. It's going to cost money in staples. It's going to just take up time. The house isn't going to get done as fast. It does move. So what's the problem? And he said, we want to do it right the first time. And we want to make sure it's exactly right. So he showed us, he put in a couple and showed us how freely it should move. And the way he did it, it just moved super free. Like you could just move it a little bit and it would wiggle around. So we took it all down and we put it back up the way he wanted us to put it up. And I'm going to be honest, if I went and looked at that house, I bet you it's completely fine. And I bet you if we'd done it the way that we were doing it, it would have also been fine. However, it would have not been the best job. And that taught me to have value in what I'm doing, to do the best job possible and to not slack. If you're going to do something, do it right and do it in a good way. And what I liked is, as a leader, he didn't get mad at us, reprimand us, tell us we're doing a bad job, and then just leave us to do it the right way. He gave us understanding as to why it was important to do it the right way. He even gave us examples by putting in a couple himself and then showing us how it's supposed to work. And I really liked that he was able to show that example, but also keep a firm foot on doing it the right way. When you want to be a leader, you don't want to be pushy or rude, but at the same time, you don't want to just let people walk all over you. You want to be that leader and to give that guidance and to take control of the situation, but you want to do it in a way that people want to follow you. And that can be really hard to do, especially when it's a hard job that needs done. Another leader would probably come from both of my fathers. My biological father who passed away and my stepfather who has done so much for me in my life. Both of them allowed me to make my own mistakes. I have a habit of being a person who needs to see the right way of doing something by trying different ways. If somebody says this is the right way to do it, I want to know why. And I want to try other ways to make sure that it's not a better way. And I think that's because I always wonder if people are doing something a certain way just because it's always been done that way and it's not necessarily the best way. So I feel I need to try different ways to see if there is a better way, possibly. And my parents have always been willing to let me try new things. They would tell me the best way to do it. They would tell me why it was the best way to do it. But if I insisted on doing it on my own and trying it a different way, they'd let me do it. And it goes back to the other talk I gave on one of my other Saturday walks about the crow. They'd wait in the wings, they'd be patient, and they'd be there if I needed help, but they'd let me try things on my own. Got a busy day of trucks today. But it's been good having those leaders in my life, and I've tried to adopt that same type of leadership skill as I've had to lead other people. I have a position at work right now where I'm a manager, and I'm still getting things right. I'm still working hard to be a good leader, and it can be tough sometimes. You've got to deal with different people who are in different situations, who have different learning capabilities, and you need to be able to lead each and every one of those effectively. I think the biggest thing I could say to do as a leader is to be patient, to be understanding, and to do it with love. You can do anything two ways. You can do it seeing people as objects and as stumbling blocks, or you can see them as individuals with the same needs and cares that you have. And I think if you always approach leadership that way, you'll always be able to come out successful. Thanks for joining me on another Saturday walk, and I hope you all have a great rest of the weekend. Take care.